The wind howled over the ice like it wanted to eat bones for dinner. For 10 years she had listened to it, curled up in frozen caves, body shaking so much her ribs ached. She was in exile, a punishment wrapped in frost, and every night she went to sleep praying she would wake up warm, even once. She never did. So when she stumbled into the faint glow of a fire not her own, dragging her numb feet through powder snow, she thought it was another hallucination. A campfire, a tent, a human. Humans didn't belong here, and yet one sat casually poking the fire with a stick, humming off-key like cold didn't exist. Her voice cracked when she spoke. "Please, just one night in your warm bed." The human jerked so hard he dropped the stick. Excuse me? What?" Her teeth chattered, her knees nearly buckled. "Your bed. Warm. I need—" He held his hands up. "Lady, I don't even know your name. You can't just walk out of the snow and proposition me like. Proposy, what?" She blinked, swaying in the heat haze. "I only need your bed. One night. Warmth." The human rubbed his face. "Oh God, you mean literally." And here I thought, never mind. Forget I said anything. She tried to straighten her posture, tried to sound dignified despite the blue tint in her lips. "I am not begging for whatever strange things humans imagine. I am begging for heat. I have slept cold for 10 years. 10 years? His eyebrows shot up. "And you picked my tent to crash in? Great. Just great. The galaxy's full of desperate women and they all find me." She wavered closer to the fire, almost stumbling into it, and he finally sighed. "Fine. Bed's inside the tent. But you better not stab me in my sleep." Her head snapped up, offended despite shivering like a half-dead bird. "If I wanted you dead, human, I would not waste 10 years freezing." "Comforting," he muttered, crawling back into the tent. "Nothing like sharing a mattress with someone who casually admits she's considered killing me." She followed, crawling awkwardly inside, and stopped. His bed was little more than a thin cot with one blanket. She frowned. "This is your bed?" "Yeah, what did you expect? Silk sheets and heated pillows? Welcome to the frontier. It is small. It's regulation size. For one person." She looked at him blankly. "But there are 2 of us. Congratulations on noticing." Her brow furrowed. "So, we must decide who lies on top." He choked. "On top? Lady, that's not, no. Just no. We're lying side by side. End of story." She tilted her head. "Your phrasing suggests reluctance. In my culture, top is honor. In mine, it's completely different." She shrugged and collapsed onto the cot, pulling half the blanket with her. He sighed and slid in beside her, muttering about cosmic punishments. The cold radiated off her body like she was made of ice. He yelped. "You're freezing! You said you wanted warmth. Why do you feel like a walking refrigerator?" Her lips twitched in what might have been a smile. "My body adapts to cold. I do not produce heat well. That is why I need yours." "Oh, great. So I'm the space heater. Lucky me." She pressed closer without asking, and his teeth instantly started to chatter. Hey, personal space. You promised bed warmth." She mumbled into his shoulder. "You cannot take it back." "Yeah, but you're leeching it out of me. I'll wake up an icicle." She shifted, wrapping a leg over his. "Better circulation this way." He groaned. "Lady, if someone walks in right now, they're going to get the wrong idea." "What wrong idea?" "That you and I are, never mind." "Forget I said anything." "You say that often," she murmured sleepily. "Strange habit." Silence stretched for a moment, broken only by her soft shivering and his muttered curses. Finally, he said, "So, 10 years, huh? Alone out here?" Her voice was quiet. "Exile. My people believe suffering purifies. 10 years of cold to teach humility. 10 years with no warmth. Until you." He swallowed, suddenly uncomfortable. The sarcasm faded from his voice. That's rough. She didn't reply. She was already half asleep, cheek pressed against him like a drowning soul clutching driftwood. He stared at the roof of the tent, pinned between icy alien limbs and the world's thinnest blanket, and muttered, "Perfect. I survive crash landings, pirates, starvation rations, and I get taken out by hypothermia spooning an alien who doesn't know what innuendo is." Her drowsy voice drifted up, muffled against him. "Innuendo? Don't worry about it. I will learn." He groaned. "God help me." The cot creaked as she snuggled closer, and he gave up the fight. Maybe he'd freeze, maybe he wouldn't. But for the first time in a decade, she slept warm, and for the first time in months, he wasn't alone. Neither admitted it, but they both needed the bed more than they wanted to admit. The first night ended with him clinging to the farthest edge of the cot, shivering so hard the frame rattled. By morning, he swore he'd never share a bed again. By nightfall, he was back on the cot anyway, because she refused to let him sleep outside the tent. "You would leave me alone in here?" she asked, wrapping the blanket tightly around herself. "It's my tent," he snapped. "You're the guest. Guests don't kick the host out of his own bed." She blinked innocently. "Then you will join me. There is room." "There's not," he muttered. "This bed was designed for one." "Then we must arrange ourselves more efficiently," she said matter-of-factly. "Who will lie on top tonight?" He nearly fell over. "We're not doing this again. You still refuse honor?" "I refuse suffocation." She tilted her head. "Humans are so strange. You complain about cold, then refuse the most efficient method of heat transfer. Because it's not just heat transfer, okay? There are implications." She leaned closer. "Implications of warmth?" He groaned into his hands. "You have no idea how this sounds to me." That night, she stole all the blanket within minutes. He woke up shaking, teeth rattling. "Hey! Blanket thief!" Her voice was groggy. "You are warm already. You do not need it. Are you kidding? I'm dying over here. Humans exaggerate." "Exaggerate? My toes are staging a rebellion." She yawned and tucked the blanket tighter. "Perhaps if you press closer you would not suffer." "You're unbelievable. You are shivering. That proves me correct." With a muttered curse, he pressed against her back, wrapping his arms around her just to survive. She made a satisfied sound, almost a purr. "Better. You know," he whispered. "Back home this would be considered very intimate." "Sharing warmth?" "Yeah. Sharing a bed, cuddling, all of it." She turned her head slightly, her breath icy on his cheek. "Intimate, but not forbidden?" "Well, it's complicated." She smiled faintly. "Humans are complicated." The following evening, he decided to change tactics. He pulled out a set of clean pajamas and tossed them at her. "What is this?" she asked, holding the fabric up like it was alien technology. "Clothes. To sleep in. Pajamas." Her brow furrowed. "You wear armor to bed." "They're not armor. They're soft. Comfortable. Private." She studied the fabric, then him. "So you protect yourself from your own bed?" "That's not how it works." "I will not wear them." "You have to." "No." "Fine, freeze then. Don't complain when I'm not enough insulation." She sniffed the fabric suspiciously. "It smells like you." "Yeah, because they're mine." She slipped the shirt over her head anyway, drowning in the oversized fabric, and smirked. "So now I am wrapped in you even before we share the bed." "Very clever, human." He face-bombed. "That's not what I meant." Her smirk widened. "But it is what I said." That night, the pajamas didn't help. She was still freezing. He woke up half buried under her, limbs tangled, her cold skin pressed against every inch of him. He grunted. "You're crushing me. You told me to get closer." "I didn't mean like a glacier on my chest." "You are alive. Stop complaining." "My ribs disagree." The next night, he discovered a new torment, her snoring. It wasn't loud, it was melodic, almost rhythmic. but she exhaled cold bursts of air right onto his neck, like sleeping next to an air conditioner. He shoved her shoulder. "Stop breathing on me!" She cracked an eye open. "You complain about everything. Blankets, breathing, sleeping. Are humans ever content? Not when they're freezing to death in their own bed. You are alive because of me. You're alive because of me." "Exactly," she said smugly, and rolled back over. By the 5th night, he gave up fighting. She always ended up tangled around him, blankets stolen, her frozen limbs draped wherever they pleased. He learned to adapt, shifting positions just to breathe. One morning, he woke to find her staring at him. "What?" he asked blearily. "You are strange," she said softly. "You complain, you argue, but you always stay." He rubbed his eyes. "What am I supposed to do? Throw you out into the snow?" "Yes," she said. "That is what my people would do." "Well, lucky for you, I'm not your people." She blinked at him, something unreadable flickering in her eyes. Then she said, "Humans are strange. But perhaps good." He tried to sit up, but she hooked an arm around him, holding him down. "What now?" he groaned. "You are warm. Stay. You've got a one-track mind, you know that? Warmth is survival," she murmured. "And I like it." He stared at the roof of the tent again, sighing. "Fantastic. 10 nights ago I was a free man. Now I'm a living hot water bottle." She pressed her forehead to his chest, the corners of her lips curving. "A useful one." And for the first time, he didn't argue. By the 12th night, the arrangement wasn't strange anymore. It was routine. They argued, they tangled, they traded warmth, and somehow neither of them hated it. He had even stopped pretending he'd sleep better alone. One morning she shifted against him and murmured, "In my people's ways, this is the highest intimacy. Higher than mating." He blinked awake. "Sharing a bed?" "Yes. It is not done lightly. To sleep beside another is to surrender trust. It is forbidden." His eyebrows shot up. "Wait, so you've been breaking the biggest cultural rule in your book every night? With me?" She nodded simply. "Yes." He groaned. "And you're just casually telling me this now? You could have warned me. I thought this was just survival." "It was survival," she said, tracing absent shapes against his chest. "Now, it is something else." He swallowed, suddenly feeling the heat of her body even through its lingering chill. "Something else, huh?" She tilted her head, eyes glinting. "You are not displeased." "I didn't say I was. You complain about many things. Blankets. Snoring. My hands. You stick your hands on me like ice blocks. Anyone would complain. But you never push me away," she said softly. "Not truly." He opened his mouth, then shut it, realizing she was right. Later that day, he adjusted the heater coils in the tent, trying to improve their situation. "If I can boost the output without blowing the fuse, maybe we can finally stop freezing." She crouched beside him, curious. "Boost the output? Is that a mating phrase?" He nearly dropped the coil. "No! It's an engineering thing." Her lips curved in a mischievous smile. "Humans make everything sound like mating." He pressed a palm to his face. "You're impossible." That night the heater worked, too well. The tent turned sweltering. Sweat dripped down his back, and he flung the blanket aside. "This is worse than freezing," he muttered. She leaned against him, amused. "Humans complain in all climates. You're one to talk. You're enjoying this, aren't you?" "Yes. For the first time in years I am not cold." "Well, congrats, you're boiling me alive." She tilted her head, studying the damp shirt sticking to his chest. "I could help you remove this burden." He froze. "My shirt?" "Yes. You do not need it. Unless you fear intimacy." He tugged the blanket back over himself. "Nope. Not falling for that one." Her smirk lingered. "But you are already half naked in spirit. Humans reveal too much without realizing. Is that supposed to be profound?" Yes. The heater eventually broke down with a sad sputter, plunging them back into cold. She leaned closer in the darkness. You tried to make the tent hotter. It failed. But you made me laugh. That is warmer than fire. He stared at her, caught off guard by the softness in her voice. You're really something, you know that? Something? Yeah. Complicated. Infuriating. But kind of amazing too. She blinked, her expression unguarded for once. Humans are strange. You make insults sound like affection. Maybe because they are, he admitted. She reached for his hand under the blanket. Her fingers were icy, but she didn't let go. For 10 years I feared I would never touch anyone again. Now, I fear losing this. The words sat heavy between them. He didn't joke this time. He just squeezed her hand back, steady and human. In the silence that followed, she whispered, When I asked for your bed, I thought it was only warmth. Now I see, it is you. His throat felt tight. Careful. If you keep saying things like that, I might start thinking you like me. She tilted her head. Do humans not admit it when they like someone? We do. We just dance around it first. She considered that. A strange custom. But I can learn your dance. He laughed quietly, the sound muffled by her hair against his chin. You're already pretty good at stepping on my toes. I will improve. Their nights changed after that. The arguments became gentler, the teasing sharper but laced with fondness. She started calling him my human, sometimes as mockery, sometimes as something softer. He started looking forward to bedtime in a way he hadn't since he was a kid. One evening, she asked, Do all humans share their beds with strangers so easily? Not usually, he admitted. But you're not really a stranger anymore, are you? She smiled faintly. No. I am yours now. He laughed nervously. Careful with phrasing like that. People might get the wrong idea. Which idea is wrong? The married one. She tilted her head again. Married? A bond, yes? Yeah, but way more complicated. Her smile deepened. Then perhaps one night you will explain. Slowly. In bed. He groaned. You really know how to make a guy sweat. You already do that. She teased. He laughed until his sides hurt, but beneath it was something he couldn't deny anymore. He liked her. Really liked her. That night, as she drifted off with her hand resting in his, he whispered into the dark. Maybe freezing wasn't the worst thing that ever happened to me. Because it brought me you. She stirred faintly, eyes half open. I heard that. He froze. You were supposed to be asleep. Her lips curved as she nestled closer. I like when you think out loud, human. And with that, she slipped back into sleep, leaving him awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how in the galaxy he'd gone from reluctant host to willing partner in warmth. By the 20th night, he stopped pretending to fight her presence. She no longer asked if she could share his bed, she simply slipped under the blanket like she belonged there. At first, that had annoyed him. Now it almost comforted him. Almost. One morning, as dawn filtered into the tent, she whispered, If my people saw this, they would exile me. He blinked sleepily. For sleeping? For trusting. For touching. For caring. They fear closeness. They would call this rebellion. He stretched, half smiling. Then you're a rebel. Congratulations. Her eyes glinted. And you are my accomplice. He chuckled. Great. Now I'm an outlaw in 2 cultures. Her gaze softened. You do not mind? Not if it means keeping you warm. Her lips parted, surprise flickering in her face before she pressed her forehead against his. Then we are conspirators of warmth. That evening, they went for supplies in the nearby settlement. Locals glanced their way, some whispering. She ignored them, but he noticed how her shoulders tightened. You okay? He murmured. They look, she said quietly. They wonder why I walk beside you. Why I stay. Let them wonder, he said. They don't know what we've been through. She smiled faintly, tension easing. Humans are bold. You do not hide what matters. Back in the tent, she asked. Do humans ever fear judgment for their bonds? All the time, he admitted. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's about what keeps you alive. And what makes you feel alive. She tilted her head, considering. And I make you feel alive? He hesitated, then grinned crookedly. You definitely make me feel something. Usually frostbite. Sometimes something else. Her laugh was soft, breath misting in the chill. Then I am enough. That night, instead of the usual scramble for blankets, she surprised him by producing something hidden, a cloak woven from her people's fibers, long stored in her pack. She wrapped it over both of them, snug and layered. Whoa, he said, impressed. Where was this all month? She shrugged innocently. I wished to see if you would endure me first. You mean you let me freeze just to test me? Yes. And you passed. He groaned. Unbelievable. You're worse than the cold. But warmer, she teased. For the first time, their bodies weren't pressed together out of necessity but by choice. She rested her head on his chest and whispered, 10 years without warmth. 10 years without trust. No. I do not wish to go back. He tightened his arm around her. You won't have to. Not while I'm here. The nights that followed grew different. Their teasing was still there, but softer. Their silences longer, heavier with unspoken things. She stopped calling him only human, and sometimes whispered his name. He found himself listening for it, craving it. One night, after she shifted closer and placed her hand against his heart, she said, Your warmth is not only your body. It is here. He caught her hand gently. Careful. That's dangerous talk. Dangerous? Yeah. Sounds a lot like love. She blinked, caught off guard, then smiled slowly. Then, perhaps I love danger. His throat tightened, and he pulled her closer, not caring if she noticed the tremor in his chest. The next morning, a storm rolled over the camp, shaking the tent. Winds howled, snow lashed against the fabric. Inside they huddled together, the world outside erased by white noise. She whispered, This storm would have killed me. 10 years I survived, but storms always took others. And now I lie here, safe. Because of you. He brushed hair from her face. Not just me. Because you chose to ask. Her eyes shimmered. No one asks. No one risks shame. But you, when I begged, you did not laugh. You made space for me. I didn't do much, he said quietly. You gave me everything, she corrected. The storm raged on, but their small world inside the tent was steady, warm in ways no blanket could replicate. That night, she said, When this storm ends, I will not return to my people. I will not leave your bed. He swallowed. That's a big choice. I have already chosen. Warmth is more than survival. It is you. I will not give that away. He exhaled slowly, then grinned. Guess that makes us partners in crime. Bed-sharing criminals. Her lips curved. Then let us never stop rebelling. They settled into each other, the storm pounding outside but unable to reach them. Her people's rules, his world's judgments, none of it mattered in that fragile, stubborn warmth they had built together. For the first time, he didn't just endure the closeness, he wanted it. Needed it. And as she breathed softly against him, cold finally yielding to trust, he realized that the bed was no longer his alone. It was theirs. And somehow, against all odds, that felt right.